I'm a 32-year-old guy who's been operating my own HVAC contracting firm for the past 8 years. I began with zero resources, raised in subsidized housing with my mother following my father's departure when I was 12. During high school, I labored weekends at a junkyard and funded my own vocational training. I established this enterprise starting from an old van and basic tools. Currently, I'm earning a strong six-figure income handling large-scale setups for hospitals, business buildings, and factories. This type of job keeps me traveling for extended periods, but it provides the income for the lifestyle I've always desired. Last month, I returned from an assignment in Ohio. At about 11 p.m., I'd been away for 9 consecutive days, setting up temperature regulation systems in a fresh healthcare center. I'd survived on roadside meals, rested in budget hotels, and managed interactions with overseers and coordinators who view HVAC tasks as mysterious. My back was aching, my footwear was covered in fibers, and I hadn't consumed anything fresh since morning. All I craved was a chilled beverage from the cooler, powering up the gaming console, and unwinding for a bit before the upcoming project. I was scarcely 2 minutes into opening a beverage when somebody began slamming on my entrance with force, not just tapping but battering as if attempting to force it open. I assumed it was likely Delgado from the adjacent property, dealing with another problem involving his heating unit. Delgado is this 62-year-old former military veteran who sees himself as the community's protector. The man possesses more monitoring gear than a government surveillance unit and approaches every small issue like a strategic operation. Typically, it's a quick repair I can handle in under half an hour. I swung open the door, anticipating Delgado armed with a tool and a frown. Instead, there stood a stranger on my veranda, acting as if he controlled the space. He appeared in his early 30s, overdoing the appearance of prosperity, dressed in high-end athletic wear and sporting a hairstyle that suggested he hosted online discussions. He gripped a large envelope as though it held critical secrets. "You have to be the spouse," he stated, skipping any formal greeting, simply positioned there with artificial assurance. "I'm Danny. Ruth requires you gone by Wednesday." I stood in my job attire, utterly exhausted, and this unknown individual was attempting to remove me from my own residence. For a moment, I wondered if I'd suffered from exhaustion or dehydration. "What on earth?" I responded. He brandished the envelope. "Ruth submitted for legal parting. Dude, you need to vacate by Wednesday so we can proceed with our plans." I examined the documents. Ruth's name was signed there without doubt. He added, "Yes, Ruth and I are a couple now, man. She's been dissatisfied for quite some time. It's time to progress, you understand." That's when it registered. This wasn't an official document deliverer or negotiator. This was Ruth's new partner, positioned on my veranda, trying to expel me from my property as if I were an unreliable renter overdue on payments. I remained silent, simply shut the door in his direction and secured the lock. Via the viewing hole, I observed him linger for roughly 30 seconds, likely pondering if his bold action had succeeded. Then he retreated to his vehicle, a rented luxury sedan that clearly strained his finances. Delgado was on his veranda throughout, inhaling a smoke and observing as if it were premium viewing. "Good effort, winner," he yelled as Danny entered his car. Danny ignored him, just sped away from the drive like an adolescent denied at a dance. I returned indoors and placed 3 calls. Initially, to my attorney, describing the circumstances and requesting an assessment of my standing. Next, to my financial institution, activating notifications on all profiles until I could uncover Ruth's strategy. I also suspended the shared accounts Ruth and I maintained. She likely possessed a private reserve or was using Danny's funds or loans. Regardless, the timer began the instant I restricted her access to money. Thirdly, to my associate in business, Brian, alerting him that personal issues could disrupt operations briefly. Brian and I founded the firm together post-training. He manages home services while I concentrate on industrial ones. He's reliable, straightforward, and fiercely protective of our enterprise. "Need me to investigate this Danny fellow?" Brian inquired. "I have a contact for background reviews." Not immediately, I replied, but hold that possibility. That evening, sleep evaded me. Not due to fears of losing the property, I was fully aware of my position, but because I began comprehending how long this had likely simmered secretly. The following day, I began spotting elements I'd overlooked due to busyness, minor details that now aligned in a new light. On Wednesday morning, I replaced all the entry mechanisms in the residence. It set me back $350 for 6 fresh locks, including an intelligent system with visual recording, the wisest expenditure ever. Here's what Danny and Ruth were unaware of, and what she'd evidently omitted in their scheming discussion. I acquired this residence 3 years prior to our wedding. It's a 2,600 square foot dwelling with a completed lower level and dual vehicle storage, purchased outright with savings from initial major deals, plus funds inherited from my grandfather, who advised never entrusting others with personal holdings. The title bears solely my name. I never included Ruth because my grandfather cautioned, never grant someone authority to ruin what you created independently. The elder was suspicious of all, but that suspicion preserved my stability. After the locks were updated, I reflected on odd occurrences from recent weeks, things I'd attributed to Ruth's habits but now appeared highly dubious. Food supplies depleted at double speed, power costs surged even during my absences, entertainment platforms displayed unwatched shows, extra utensils appeared in the cleaner, and the premium brew I reserved for occasions was perpetually depleted. I'd observed this for more than a month, yet failed to link it. When laboring 70 hours weekly and journeying nonstop, analyzing home routines isn't feasible. Then I recalled Danny's precise phrasing, "We can begin the shift process." We, as if he'd been involved for an extended period. That's when I entered investigation mode. I commenced with online profiles. Ruth's photo-sharing site featured mostly the usual staged content, fitness stances, lavish meal images, inspiring sayings about advancement and removing harmful influences. But recent updates included unfamiliar individuals in group pictures at eateries I'd never visited, people unknown to me, and heightened activity during periods when I was presumably alone at home. Then I discovered Danny's video-sharing profile. Good Lord, this fool had been conducting a complete media production from my residence for over a month. Not mere casual clips, but elaborate arrangements with illumination and various viewpoints. He was preparing complex dishes in my cooking area using my devices, exercising in my lower-level fitness space with my gear, and positioned in my workspace, employing my tailored workstation as scenery for success-oriented material. One clip depicted him crafting an intricate beverage with my $300 coffee device, discussing daily starters that distinguish victors from defeats. Another showed him barbecuing high-end meats on my rear patio, describing how to exist as if success is achieved. The feedback included queries on affording such opulence. He never clarified, allowing assumptions it was his. The most offensive was recorded in my workspace. He lounged in my supportive seat, legs elevated on my desk, lecturing on wealthy thinking while my professional credentials and honors adorned the background. "You don't pretend until success arrives," he declared in that segment. "You construct it element by element until it materializes." Indeed, I constructed it with real components, piping, units, and lengthy shifts in confined areas that would overwhelm this person. I began capturing images of all, every recording, every remark, every description. The dates indicated he'd operated this for at least 6 weeks, invariably during my out-of-town assignments. Then I reviewed my fitness center subscription, the round-the-clock gym permits adding relatives, so I'd included Ruth upon marriage. It emerged she'd registered Danny as my relative roughly 2 months earlier. The log revealed his frequent visits, introducing others as visitors, accumulating fees for coaching and elite options. Staff records noted him claiming to be a prosperous business owner and organizing networking gatherings at the refreshment area. I contacted the gym and revoked his entry promptly. Then I altered all credentials for streaming platforms. Next, I examined charge card records to uncover additional shocks. That night, Danny returned for a second attempt. I was consuming a meal when my device alerted movement. I accessed the monitoring stream, and there he was, striding on my veranda like a trapped beast. He recommenced pounding the entrance. "Why alter the locks?" he yelled through the material. "Ruth isn't responding. This is her residence as well." I approached but kept it closed. "It isn't," I stated firmly. "We possess entitlements. You can't bar individuals from their dwelling. You lack even a key, Danny. You've been intruding." "There's a lawful distinction." That provoked a complete outburst. He paced the veranda wildly, ranting about renter protections, improper removal, and plans to litigate for all. At one juncture, he attempted to force the door with a kick. That's when Delgado emerged from his adjacent home. "Hey, time's up," he shouted, smoke dangling from his mouth. "Yeah, you with the artificial grin. The entire area is witnessing your breakdown currently." Danny turned sharply and attempted intimidation. Keep out, elder. This doesn't concern you. Delgado remained unfazed. Youngster, I've dealt with threats for far less than your actions now. You should reconsider your next step carefully. They locked eyes for about 15 seconds. Danny glanced at my secured entrance, then at Delgado, then back. Ultimately, he marched to his vehicle like a child denied treats. I preserved all monitoring records in remote storage. Thursday morning, I forwarded Ruth a message. You have 1 day to retrieve your items. Danny is forever prohibited from this location. Her reply arrived swiftly, as if anticipating it. No way. Danny resides here now. You can't expel us like this. We have protections. This is our dwelling and our existence. Verify the title, I answered. That unleashed a torrent. I received a barrage of messages accusing me of monetary control, psychological manipulation, and dominating all. She began using legal jargon as if she'd marathon-watched courtroom dramas overnight. I ignored it all, just allowed her to expend effort. By midday, she altered approach. Now it focused on how I was indebted for 6 years as my uncompensated partner. She asserted she'd sacrificed all for my enterprise and merited half my value for her efforts. The truth. She labored part-time organizing fitness attire, expended her earnings on self-care, and never assisted with any expenses. But now she portrayed the victim. Then ensued the remorse inducement. How could you inflict this on Muffin? She's been my companion for 3 years. You're harming a harmless creature. Muffin was a feline she'd acquired impulsively and neglected for months. I'd handled purchasing supplies, maintaining hygiene, and veterinary visits. By Thursday night, she'd shifted to remorse narratives, lengthy diatribes about our past connection and how I was demolishing something profound. Can't we resolve this maturely? I commenced cataloging all. Financial records, property documents, coverage papers, service invoices. Every proof demonstrating my ownership and sole payments. Then I compiled all data on Danny, the video clips, Jim fraud, captures of him feigning possession. I arranged it in a file with timelines, stamps, and legal notes. Friday morning at 8:30 a.m. precisely, a knock sounded. I peered through the viewer and saw a man in an inexpensive outfit carrying a case that seemed second-hand. Mr. Johnson, he announced upon opening. I'm lawyer David Garcia. I act for Mr. Danny. We must discuss your unlawful expulsion of my client. I admitted him, not from concern, but to witness their flawed legal tactic. Garcia seated at my dining surface and extracted a notepad filled with scribbles. He tossed terms like confirmed occupancy, implied rental, and improper exclusion compensation. Your client lacks a rental agreement, I noted. Irrelevant, he countered. He's resided here over 60 days. That establishes tenancy per regulations, agreement or not, without payment. No contributions, no records, monetary input isn't necessary for housing rights. I activated my device and replayed one of Danny's clips. Danny's words echoed in the space. Ruth's with me now, this is our spot, we share it. Garcia paused notations, I played another. I'm her partner now, we're united in this. You can't remove us. Then I presented the proof file across the surface. Ownership title, coverage docs, financial logs, service statements, monitoring of Danny attempting entry force. All structured and prepared. Garcia examined it methodically. I observed his arrogant demeanor diminish as he grasped his client's predicament. Listen, my client might withdraw future demands if you provide a modest moving aid, he suggested eventually. You desire me to compensate your client for ceasing occupation of my home? It's a common resolution method. Here's the plan, I declared. Danny can collect his junk from the roadside. If he enters my land again, charges follow. Want court, proceed. Just prepare superior proof. Garcia gathered his materials silently. As he departed to his vehicle, Delgado shouted from nearby. Hey, advocate, inform your client next time he plays family. Select someone who comprehends property agreements. Garcia avoided glancing back. I packaged Danny's belongings, stimulants, budget sent, motivational texts like dominant thinking and wealth routines. I placed it curbside with a message, nearest to possession you'll achieve. Appreciate it. That weekend, I offered Ruth a last opportunity to gather her possessions. Message ahead, arrive solo, no theatrics. She breached all rules. Sunday evening, I returned from a Tennessee assignment, a 4-day industrial setup that concluded prematurely, so home Sunday rather than Monday. Fortunate for me, unfortunate for the unprepared. Upon entering the drive, issues were evident. All illumination activated. Ruth's vehicle occupied my space, storage entrance ajar, boxes piled within. I entered the main door and encountered scents of scented wax and Asian delivery. Multiple dishes soiled, costly beverages on surfaces, and the spare room open, displaying Danny's attire organized in storage. Ruth entered the cooking zone, donning one of my firm shirts as if posing. "Oh, early return," she remarked, nonchalant. "I anticipated tomorrow." "This isn't a rental service," I stated. "You no longer reside here." "In fact, I do," she retorted. "The parting isn't complete. My counsel states I can stay in the shared home during processes. You possess a rental unit. Occupy that." She continued navigating the area as if owner, accessing storage, inspecting cooler, disregarding my control, but I refrained from debate, just observed and noted mentally. That evening I overheard her via the spare room barrier. The area retained the alarm with sound capture I'd set for safety. I accessed the stream and heard her dialogue. "Just another week," she murmured. "He's vulnerable when managed properly. I need to induce guilt once more than success. Believe me, I understand how to influence him." She wasn't seeking reunion. She was gaining time for Danny to claim legal status. Monday morning, she attempted bargaining during meal. "Let's handle this grown-up fine. Danny requires a spot briefly, perhaps a month or two. You're absent often. He could utilize the spare, assist with tasks. No need for costly legal battles. You want your partner residing in my home amid separation? Goodness, so exaggerated. He's harmless. He just needs time for his venture. Absolutely not. You're unreasonable. You complicate all." I refused no further discussion. She banged a door and exited angrily. 2 hours on, I spotted missing objects from my workspace, portable computer, device, and costly timepiece from storage. I reviewed monitoring. Interior views disconnected again, but exterior captured all. Ruth transferring my tech to her vehicle at 7:15 a.m. I messaged, "Return items now." She answered, "Danny required for key meetings. Relax. Still wed, recall. Shared ownership. Bad choice." I summoned authorities. Officer Bailey came, another officer, but similarly direct. Mid-40s, intolerant of family conflicts. I displayed recording, proofs, identifiers. Ruth pushed spousal entitlements. "We're legally bound," she informed Bailey. "He can't monopolize while I reconstruct post-abandonment." Bailey dismissed quickly. "Lady, removing items without consent is theft. Union doesn't alter acquired pre-separation. His belongings." She returned all under oversight. Computer stained, device damaged, timepiece incomplete. She treated it minor, mere objects. "Why petty?" Delgado observed from veranda throughout. He didn't shout. "Ruth," he addressed. "Next theft, avoid multiple recordings. Handle your affairs, suspicious elder," she retorted. Delgado nodded deliberately. "That's why you'll forfeit all." Friday morning, I departed for North Carolina, significant medical center task unavoidable. Needed systems before occupancy. Planned months. Pre-departure, I messaged Ruth firmly. "No Danny here, don't challenge." Ignored. I visited Delgado, informed 3-day absence, requested vigilance. He maintained a firearm on veranda, advanced optics. "No issue," he said, focused on task, "but suspect your Danny will attempt folly during absence. Alert authorities if seen." Delgado smiled. "I'll exceed that." I should have realized it was more than assurance, a warning. The medical assignment proceeded well, 3 days intense, finished early under cost. Profitable, pleased customer, strong addition. But Sunday afternoon, Delgado texted video and word. "Caught." I viewed, anger surged. Danny's vehicle in drive, then clip of him and 2 males unloading items from transport, then Ruth admitting via main entrance with key. I phoned Delgado instantly. Duration, since Friday evening, complete relocation. Full vehicle hired, transporters complete. Contacted police, allowed deeper entrapment first. Returning tonight, departing now, about 4 hours. This'll be amusing. I drove back Sunday night, gripping controls tightly, knuckles pale. 4 hours highway, contemplating arrival scene. Entered drive around 8 p.m. Odor struck pre-entry. Tobacco, alcohol, food, not mine. Interior resembled student lodging. Debris scattered, arrangements altered, unfamiliar footwear. In spare, Danny's life. Attire, tech, nutrients, even small cooler connected bedside. Ruth exited hygiene area like I was premature for meeting. "Early again," she said. "You provided key." He needed safe spot while housing resolves. He relocated fully. Temporary, ceased drama. Then Danny emerged from cooking in my exercise gear, consuming meal from my supplies, drinking my beverage like purchased. "How's it, dude?" he said like housemates. Assumed Monday. I scanned lounge. Major absence. Where's display? Danny blanked briefly. Which display? Accessed monitoring app. There Saturday, Danny and associate loading my large screen into vehicle. Just safeguarding, Danny claimed. Area unsafe lately. Prevent theft, so you took first. Silent. Entered workspace. System present but disrupted. Display soiled, configurations changed, history filled with adult content and fraud schemes unseen. Then horror. Business profiles accessed, client tools, invoicing, records. This individual used stored credentials for professional entry, no longer mere crashing. This was business sabotage. Contacted emergency for firm security. Soon, conferencing with experts. They secured, updated, audited. Client info exposed, payments, sites, finances. Leakage meant charges, suits ruining all. Return to cooking. Danny there eating my food, puzzled by upset. You entered work profiles, I said, just quick check. You performed serious offense. Ruth interjected, he assisted, more supportive than you. Ruth, I said, be quiet, no longer union, this is serious. Danny dismissed. Man, relax, didn't take. Accessed, restricted without permission. Crime. Then worst error. He chuckled. You're harsh. No prosecution for computer nonsense. Same fabricated toughness from clips, false bravado effective on youths. I seized his neck, pressed against cooler instinctively. He resisted, weak as damp cloth. I tightened. One error, Danny, I whispered, assumed weakness. Face reddened. Ruth shrieked wildly, release him. Mad. No, I said, gripping, done tolerating. Released, he collapsed, breathing hard, clutching. You're crazy, he gasped. Summon authorities, I told Ruth. Explain boyfriend's hack. Activated recording. Danny, floored, admitted all, sought advantage for Ruth's settlement, he said. Ruth ceased yells. What? Helped you gain deserved. You said email only. Danny realized planned destruction. When Officer Bailey arrived 40 minutes later, I provided device with audio, video, logs of access. Beyond family issues, Bailey noted checking proof, federal level. Danny cuffed on seating, massaging neck, influencer ambitions fading live. Danny detained that night on charges. Digital fraud, unauthorized entry, identity misuse, attempted sabotage. Bailey summoned agents who assumed control quickly, seized his devices, building lifelong case. Ruth claimed ignorance, but agents disbelieved. Discovered messages plotting dirt for separation. Danny in transport, no longer bold, just frightened youth with life error. Marcus, TV aide, arrived later with my items. Agents offered assist or accessory. He assisted. All returned, screen, appliance, tools, liquor reserve. Inventoried while agents documented. Delgado filmed from veranda with advanced gear. Superior to shows, he said. Should have charged admission. When Marcus dropped final, spilled premium brew, $250 scattered. Danny in vehicle grinned. Accident, he said. Added charge, property damage. Ruth downplayed, ridiculous, mere brew, destroying life over trivial. He destroyed own, I said, just recording. Federal proceeded rapidly. Danny's counsel sought agreement, but prosecutor built on cyber, no leniency. Then I acted. Contacted corporate lawyer, handles disputes. Keen and aggressive. Seek separation, I said. Now amid federal, wise, he noted. She's weakened, diverted, reputation damaged. Leverage crime, yes. File pre-organization. Filed Thursday, complete petition with finance reveals showing my ownership versus. Her input, harsh truth. I held all, she none. Included federal as proof of harmful conduct eroding union. Her crime link in record. Ruth served at eatery job. Server noted tears amid patrons sent home. She phoned night yelling filed amid crime, abuse. Strategic, I said, boyfriend crimes via my assets, grounds anywhere, unaware, messages contradict. Lawyer explains evidence, she disconnected. 2 days on, arrived with cheap lawyer seeming novice. Client merits half shared, he said, from pad. Residence, firm, savings all. I gave response document, 47 pages proving pre-marriage buy, independent build, self-funding, plus her crime proof. Lawyer paled. Need review time, he said. Take it, I replied, facts fixed. Danny pleaded to evade incarceration. Got probation 2 years, $1,850 payback, 300 service hours, crime training. Then Delgado acted. Neighbor had intel background, contacts for probes. Found 2 scammed women, same method. Testimony revoked probation. Prosecutor added. Danny serves 18 months prison, facing 2 more post. Media erased. Video, photo, sites gone. Memes epic, from star to prisoner, clips to cells. Remix of quotes over arrest, 80,000 views pre-removal. Ruth crushed in court, her lawyer overpowered by mine. Asset claims met crime counters. Judge unsympathetic. Hearing Ruth argued pay for support. Judge viewed crime docs, said you aided criminal sabotage. No pay, Ruth got marriage input. 0. No home, no share, no support, no holdings. Just items, remnant respect. 6 weeks total. Lawyer called efficient. File timely with proof, not battle, just record. Post final, Ruth victimized online. Posts on control, system destruction. No believers. Family apologized. Father phoned. Not raised thus. Ashamed, mother blunt. Better free, warned her, sister messaged. She's deranged. Blames others. Parents severed. Job terminated. Crime link bad for image. Ruth in small unit, chain job, restarting. Tried coaching courses on recovery, betrayal. No buyers, no trust. Delgado monitored months. No foes, he said. Basic strategy. 6 months start, 3 post-separation. Ruth appeared Tuesday evening. Back from Florida, $180,000 pharma setup. Business thriving, status firm, life ideal. Open door, barely knew her. Slimmer, disheveled, thrift attire. Can we discuss?